What is going on, everyone? I am Digital Maniac 3K, and you know what? It's been a while since I've done anything over here. I am back. I am dealing with some stuff. I've had a few technical difficulties this evening, but no big deal. This is a bit of an experimental stream. It's kind of like when a couple of years ago I did an experimental podcast. Didn't really get anywhere with that, mostly because I just didn't really get a chance to do a lot of writing for it, and what I did record I didn't really like. So instead of put out stuff that I didn't like, I just decided not to put it out at all. So on to tonight's project. I hope everyone is is having a good time, or at least hope you will be. This right here. First off, let's get into the project tonight. This right here is my Macintosh LCIII motherboard. I've got a few of these. I've always loved the LC series Macintoshes. If you saw the short that I put out last weekend, my first Mac was an LC2, and I've actually got a story to tell you guys about that, how I got that machine, because it's been something I've told people over the years, but a lot of people that watch my channel, I'm not sure that you've heard that story. So that'll come with a different one, with a different rebuild series. It might actually be in the video, because I do have another LC2. I've got the one that I posted working over the weekend, and then I've got another one. I managed to wind up with two of them somehow. But anyway, this is my LC3, and I was just kind of refreshing myself on the specs. This is, pull it up here. You can see this has got it's camera roll focus. There you go. The Motorola 68030 processor running at 25 megahertz, which that in itself is not really all that awesome. But, the fact is this was, a really good low-end computer. Did have the option for the FPU. I believe you can pop a floating point processor in that, or a math coprocessor, however you want to call it, in there. It actually has onboard VRAM, onboard system RAM, and, it's pretty much all in one. Yeah, again, I love these little buggers. Probably over the years had a couple dozen of them. Especially when they were like dirt cheap, when you could get, like 2 or 3 of them for $10. And I have gotten them that cheap before. So anyway, let's get into this tonight. Now, I have 2 different cameras that we're going to be using tonight. This is the one that's actually in front of my face right here, my Sony ZV-1. So we're going to be kind of using this as like a main camera, and I got something special for you guys. So I want you to just kind of point out the actual capacitor leakage here. And you see how shiny everything is, and everywhere around these caps is dull. And that right there, and this one right here is probably one of the worst ones. That right there is the capacitor leakage. That's an unfortunate problem with these older Macs, but we're going to take care of that tonight. Now, to excuse my setup here, because I'm still getting used to this. I just got this thing today. I actually have a little microscope that I'm going to be using to kind of give you guys an even closer look at some of this stuff. So let me turn this on. That's zoomed in a little too far. There we go. And this right here is what I'm going to use tonight to try to kind of show you all what the capacitor damage is on this. So here we go. So you can see all of this gunk, and I mean it's just like coming off on my finger. That right there is all of the electrolytic fluid inside these little capacitors. It's leaked out. These systems are old. I believe when I was refreshing on the specs earlier, everymac.com listed these as they came out in '93 and were discontinued in '94. And this is an original LC3, not the LC3 Plus. And so, it's just part of aging electronics. So what we're going to do tonight is we're actually going to Here, let's turn the microscope off here, and I apologize. If you've watched my my game streams, you know, I'm sitting there hitting my stream deck and everything. Unfortunately, that's on a separate computer. This is my old streaming computer, and decided it did not want to play nicely with my consoles. So I don't have the stream deck over here, so I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage. But anyway, we're going to muddle through this tonight, and we're going to have some fun. So basically, what I'm going to be doing tonight is I've got some isopropyl alcohol over here, and we're going to kind of wash down the board. I'm mostly just going to focus on the affected areas. You've probably seen me in videos and in other things where I'll take and just absolutely go hog wild, clean the whole thing, detail it and all that. Not really going to do that tonight. I will do that eventually, just off camera. This system, I've actually got some interesting plans for it later, but that's one reason why I just want to go ahead and work through some of the main issues tonight and get it fixed up. So I am going to be taking my trusty toothbrush. No. And let's get started. So while I'm doing this, I'll probably be reminiscing over the Mac LCIIIs. Like I said, you know, just put that over there. I've had a few of them, but the first time I ever really got a chance to use one was in school, in middle school. Now, when I was in middle school, which was in '95, that was before I got my first Mac. Technically the LC3 is the first real Mac that I've used. We had Windows PCs. Actually, at that point we were still using an 80286, which at the time was my machine. We had two of them, and one of them had developed some video problems. And instead of repairing it, my grandparents decided to just go ahead and use the second one. And that left the old one with me, and I fixed it. Because I've always been about fixing things. That's one reason why I like doing this kind of stuff here. Yeah, I'm an IT professional. I work on these things professionally. And then I sit in my free time and I'm working on them and doing stuff like this. So, and yeah, I am kind of soaking it with IPA. I want to make sure that I get a lot of this off. And I will be going back over it in just a moment and cleaning it again, even with a different toothbrush. I have two of them. So, mostly trying to see if we can get a lot of that off of there. And so, get that cap, those caps, this one, this one, this one. Yeah, now the funny part is, I've actually done a few of these cap swaps, and let's clean up that AMD chip on my Mac. That cracks me up every time I see them. But anyway, so let me get a paper towel here, soak up some of that excess. The reason I'm going to go over this twice is I just want to make sure that a lot of this stuff is cleaned up prior to me removing the caps. And I'm going to be removing them using a method that is probably going to make everyone cringe, but it's the method that I've used for all of these that I've done, which more than just that little LC2 motherboard. And of course, you know what? I can actually go into the whole deal with that LC2 motherboard. The last year, or actually, no, I guess it's been 2 years. That actually could lead me into a different thing. Where the hell have I been? Most of you don't know. But anyway, in 2020, I was really on pace to try to put out a lot of content. And let's see. Yes, I am cutting it. So yeah, the I was on pace to put out a lot of content, and that's when I started picking up some of these systems. I got these two systems. Actually got the LC2 that um, I posted over the weekend. I picked up uh, this LC3. I picked up another LC2 and a bunch of other stuff. Ooh, that one we might have a broken trace on. It let go before I really got around it. So what I'm going to do now, oops, off camera there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to carefully try to bend it back and forth. Oh, good. It is not broken where I thought it was. Still going to snip it though. And, haha! Here, I'll show you what I'm looking at here using the microscope. This thing is going to come in handy, but for right now, hey, look, there's number 48. I didn't realize those were numbered. 47, 46. Oh, cool. I've had that gray mat for years now. Okay. So, let's focus that in. There we go. All right. So, these are the caps that I've been snipping off. And again, you know, I know that's going to make a lot of people cringe, but this is why I do it. I'll take and snip it off like that and then work them out, which I just smacked the lens of my... Oh, you got to love live stuff. Well, anyway, if you look down here, now you see that I have got... Oops. Where am I? There we go. So you see now I've got my traces ready. Now I still need to, you know, there's still electrolytic fluid under there. So I need to get rid of, I need to clean that up too. But I actually just use a little bit of desoldering braid to suck all the rest of that up. And actually, speaking of my desoldering braid, I need to snip off some fresh there. Here we go. Well, anyway, let's see. We'll turn the microscope off so you can kind of see everything that I'm doing here. So anyway, back in 2020, I was doing a bunch of stuff. And I decided that if I was really going to try my best to make something happen on this YouTube channel, I was just going to have to go for something fairly big. So I got that LC2 project, which I thought would just be very... It was a good nostalgic project. I wanted to rebuild my teenage computer, but then build it to the spec of, you know, what I would have considered my ultimate Mac at the time. Which, I mean, I was so in love with that LC2 that I absolutely did not want to get rid of it or anything. And let's clean up some of this stuff. This is that one that I thought broke earlier. And here we go. And anyway, so when I was working on that LC2, I was trying to do a recap on it, and it was I'll be honest, it was the first time I'd ever done a tantalum capacitor conversion like this, and it failed. And I thought I broke it, and I'm like, oh no, you know, what am I going to do with this? I've, you know, sat there and recorded all this video, and I mean, I put that thing in the dishwasher to clean it out, and that thing came out looking good. But you know, it was dead. It was completely dead. I could not get it to turn on whatsoever. And let's see. Get a better grip on my cutters here. So that was, you know, that project was, it kind of failed on me catastrophically. And I'm like, you know, what am I going to do about this? So that's how I wound up with these two. I was actually looking for parts LC2 and then wound up finding this little bundle deal where I got the LC2 and an LC3. Really cheap price, too. Now, I'm not sure whether the power supply works for the LC3, but I'm going to use one of the LC2 power supplies because I know both of those work now. So you can see I'm just going through here and just removing all of these old surface mount caps. I'm not really being picky about removing a lot of the internals of it right there, because I'll get that in just a moment whenever I get my soldering wick over here. And yes, I will be using a soldering wick, and I'll be using a Heiko soldering station. It is the FX888 Delta, and I love this little thing. All right, so let me get some more of this up here. There we go. Okay, so pretty much got all of these down here. I'm going to go ahead and clean. Let's clean up some of this area right here. Because again, I want to make sure that we get as much of that cleaned off as we can. Because even though I did go ahead and clean it once before, it still had some of that nastiness under the capacitor. Oops. Yeah. And there's a little bit of the plastic from it. But anyway, so if those of you who don't follow me on social media or know me personally or anything like that, you're probably wondering, where the heck have I been? Because I haven't posted on here in well over a year. Well, I'll be honest with you. I was going through probably one of the most severe cases of burnout that I have ever experienced. And I mean, I've gone through some stuff, but this took the cake. And I'm fine now. I'm trying to get back into hobbies and things like that. Still hang out with my motorcycle buddy. We go to some of the racetracks and stuff like that. And honestly, that's kind of been the only thing that I've been doing for the past year and a half or so. And it's one of those things that it took me a long time to come to grips with it and deal with it and start dealing with the actual problems. And I am dealing with that now. I'm actually getting mental help finally. So things are on the up and up there. And I definitely appreciate all of my friends who have been supportive, checking in with me. Because, I mean, I know I have not been the easiest person to get a hold of. And I am talking not only to anyone who's been watching my channel, but anyone who knows me personally. Because I completely withdrew. And wow, that one just came apart. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I'm finally getting some help for a lot of issues, and kind of trying to beat the stigma of seeking mental help. I'm actually starting to become a bit of a mental health advocate. I don't think that we should stigmatize it. A lot of times we, and I do include myself with this, think that, well, if I've got mental health problems, then that means I'm defective or anything like that. No. Couldn't be further from the truth. I used to also think that I was beyond help, or that I was just not worth helping. And guess what, people? Nobody's like that. And I just lifted a trace. I was afraid that would happen. Let's see where that went. All right, I'm going to pull the microscope over here. Let's turn it on. And that was one thing I was trying to avoid. Okay. So it looks like that just connected in there. And loops around there. So that's where that trace was. I've got some wire. I think I can fix this. But this is another reason, and this was honestly one of the worst, spots of leakage that I had on here. So yeah. Let's see. Where does this go? So it comes in here, it connects into here, right in here. And these two loop around on it. Does that go anywhere else? This might not even be a needed gap. It's going over there. There's nothing there. I'm sure it is needed for something. So, yeah. Oh, okay. No. I'm misreading that. The via. That's what's going over there. That's still looping back, though. Okay. Doesn't matter. I should be able to get that in there. This is also kind of some of the things that I go through whenever I'm recording a video. And you get to see it all right now because, I'm doing this live. So let's clean this up here. And then let's try to blot up some of this with the paper towel. All right, it still looks like it is just going right there. So that is probably why it did that. Now I'm trying to find the cap. I've been sitting here dropping them in a pile, and now I can't find that one. But, okay. I don't think that one's it. Oh, well. All right. Well, again, the joy of doing things live. So, yeah. I can almost think that's not even needed, but I'm still going to go ahead and put it in over here. And then we'll take and scratch a little bit of that away. Because I bet you there's a via that goes into something on the other side of the board. So, yes, there are several. So, yeah. Okay, well, let the fun commence. So, that is one of the dangers, though, of removing caps that way. And, I could sit here. I'll actually show you the way most people probably would. And take a soldering iron. Come in here. Actually, I probably should put some flux on that. Oh, shoo. I don't even have to. Oh, my God. Yeah, there's that stench. If you've never done this before, and this is another reason why I don't like using heat to take these things off, is just because of the absolute fish odor that comes from these things. It is just, it's rancid. It is just absolutely rancid. So, yeah. Yeah, this one I'm just going to go ahead and snip. Here, let me turn the microscope off. There we go. So, move that out of the way. So, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and snip this one as well. There we go. Perfect. So, I'm going to try to carefully remove this. There we go. And ta-da. All right. So now, I believe we have gotten all of the capacitors. Yep, we've gotten them all. So now the fun begins. And I don't just mean the fun of having to try to reconnect that one. So this one I can tell is going to be very difficult because of its proximity to the SCSI port. Excuse me. And I do not have access to a mute button on my microphone, so I apologize if I have to burp or something. I'll try my best to keep it off of here. There we go. There. Ugh, that smell. Ugh. And yeah, it's pretty rank. So this one, we just need to remelt this. And these. There we go. All I'm doing now is just melting the solder to get the legs of those capacitors off of there. I'm going to go back over it with some solder wick because I want to try to get as much of that old solder off as possible. But I'm going to be cleaning it yet again. So that's those. So there's those. There's that one. And then let's. I should make something perfectly clear. I am an IT pro. I am not a professional refurbisher or anything like that. I am pretty much just a hobbyist. I'm not doing this for anybody. I'm not doing this for money, unless eventually my channel gets monetized. Or if somebody wants to kick me a donation or a tip, feel free to. But yeah, there we go. This is mostly just me working on one of my hobbies and having some fun while I do it. Because now I can share it with other people. There we go. There's that one. There we go. So there's that. Got those. There we go. All right. So, I think we're just about there. So, yeah, there's not that many caps on this board. I noticed that, at least compared to the LC3, or LC2 rather. So, what I'm going to do is, let's use a little bit of desoldering braid. There we go. So I'm getting up all that old solder. Uh-oh, my camera turned off. Let's see if I can get her to turn back on. Again, gotta love live demos. There we go. Ah! Yes, I have been fighting with this thing. There we go. We'll zoom it back in. This is my Sony ZV-1 camera. Now some of you are aware, or maybe some of you aren't. One of the reasons why I've not produced a lot of videos, or really any kind of videos, in the last little bit was at the end of 2020. I had to sell off a lot of stuff, including my cell phone, which was my primary camera. And last year, I did a bit of a fundraiser of sorts, and basically sold off some of my computer gear. Things like the Apple IIc, that's gone. Of course, I got absolutely royally screwed on that deal. That's a story for another day. And anyway, I did all of that in the hopes of raising money to buy a new camera, which I was able to do. And I was also able to get a new computer to edit videos, and it was a overall a success. But unfortunately, having all the hardware in the world doesn't mean squat. If you're so burnt out, you can barely function. So that's one of the reasons why you've just not been seeing any content from me lately. So let's continue onward. So I want to get rid of all of this old solder off of here. And then I'm going to go through, apologize for that. Then I'm going to go through and clean all of these pads one time. One last time. There we go. Okay. Yeah, like I said, the LCIII was one of the first Macintoshes that I ever used. Again, it was about 95. I was in 7th grade, and we had them in our computer lab. And there was a bunch of LC3s, and I think some LC3 pluses. But and then we got Power Macs the next year. Well, I mean, we had 2 computer labs when I was in there in the 8th grade. I loved that. Made friends with the teacher that taught all of the computers, although I was very open about being a hacker at the time, and she was very, very, very anti-hacker, and, always, hacking is illegal, and blah, 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 blah. Well, if you follow me on one of my Twitter accounts, you'll know that I'm actually a advocate of the group. Hacking is not a crime. Hacking is not a crime. Depends on what you're doing with it. You can commit a crime by hacking. But, if you're just curious as to how things work like I am, then that in itself is not a crime. There we go. All right, this solder wick's kind of aggravating me a little bit. I don't really like using this stuff, but unfortunately, it's all that I have right now. And honestly, there goes my camera again. Okay, this thing is just going to be fun tonight. Make sure that it's not thinking that the battery's dying in it because it's connected up. No, battery's in there. Okay. The funny thing is this thing had been on for like a day and a half because this is one of the problems that I was running into with it. So I'm like, I'm just going to leave the thing on and see, because I was playing with some settings and stuff on it, but whatever. But yeah, I'll do these more, especially if I do these live. I'll probably invest in a second soldering station, one so that I can have a little wider tip ready to go on my iron. Normally, if I was doing this for, just a standard video, at this point I would have shut everything off for the night and put up my, as soon as my soldering iron cooled off completely, then I would have used one of these tips here, which is the one that I've used for most of my projects using since I started using this Heiko F888D or FX888D station. So this little tip is perfect for doing this kind of work, at least for the actual soldering. So that's why I chose to just put it on tonight and deal with it. So, okay. So basically, I'm kind of to the point where all I need to do now is clean this board, and then we can start putting on the new caps. So I'm going to start over here. And whenever I start actually putting the caps on, I may actually start with this one because this one's going to be the biggest pain in the rear since it lifted a trace. And I'm going to have to run a little bodge wire. That's no big deal because I actually have one right here. All right. And that's also why I'm doing this first, so that it will be dry first. Okay. A little bit more IPA. And let's get in here and clean all of this up here. Okay. So I think I got all of the traces there. So I'm going to run through and just use a little paper towel here to kind of expedite the drying of some of this stuff. All right. So now, just one second. All right. So, okay. So, the cap kit that I'm going to be using tonight for this is from Console 5. As you can see, it's the tantalum capacitor kit for the Macintosh LCIII. And, I am not sponsored in any way by them, although, guys, come on. You look at all these caps that I bought. It's kind of sad because I got like so many recap projects to do. But anyway, I digress. All right, so I've got one that is different than the others. Now the cool thing is that Console 5 has a listing on their site of what goes where, which was really handy for me the other night whenever I pulled all of those caps off of that LC2 board, and then I got them mixed up. Because some of them looked identical, but yeah, they weren't. So we're going to look here. I'll actually use the microscope here. So these are the 476Ds, which there's a bunch of those on the LC2 board. Let's see what this one is. Might be the same thing. Nope, it's a 107. Okay. And then these All right, so I need to find out, because I thought they were all the same, so I didn't really do this prep in advance. So I need to find out where that one goes, because it goes in a different spot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my keyboard, roll over to Console 5's website, and I didn't prep for this, so I can't have you guys ride along with me while I do this, so bear with me just one moment. So I'm going into their tech wiki. My computer, Mac LCIII. All right. Okay, so the only one that is different there, which is a 100 microfarad, which I believe is that 107. That one is at C13. So that'll probably be the first one we do. That way I know that the rest of them will be fun, because the rest of them are 10 microfarad or 47 microfarad. Is that picofarad? That's picofarad. Oh, man. Oh, Lord. You can't tell. It has been a day. All right. So let's turn the microscope off. Okay. So C13. This is one thing I love about some of these boards is they're very well marked. So C13. Where is C13? Somebody's out there going, hey, it's right there, dummy, it's right there. Oh, hey, look, it's right there, dummy. And it kind of looks like maybe I need to just brush a little bit more IPA on that. A little dull under it in between the leads there. I just want to make sure that we have as much of that off of there as possible. All right. And normally I don't use paper towels to dry up IPA. I blame Vince from mymatevince.com. I watch his videos a lot. I watch a lot of videos, actually. Lately, I've been more of a consumer of YouTube than a producer, so I've got a lot of ideas for projects and things like that, and been watching a lot of videos on trying to, up my game, almost to the point of cinematography. So I was hoping maybe if I made videos that were visually appealing, that might help. All right. So now I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to do here. I am going to take here it is, my handy dandy syringe of flux, which the flux that I use here is the MG Chemicals No Clean Flux Paste. And I'll put some of this right here on C13. And just a little bit. I'll spread it over both of the pads there. I'm just going to set it to the side because we're definitely going to need it later. All right. So, one of the things that I look for on this, I'm going to make sure my camera's in all the way here. All right. So one of the things that I look for on this, you need to make sure you know which side is positive and which side is negative. Now, sometimes it doesn't matter, and it may not matter with this, but this is one of the ways that I have been doing it. And you always make sure that the little stripe is on the positive side. Again, it may not matter, but I know that with some caps it doesn't matter. But I try to err on the side of caution. So what I'm going to do here is kind of hold it down with my pick. I got some solder on my iron. And yeah, all right. So this is one reason why you really should use tweezers for this. They make hot tweezers. I was actually just talking with somebody earlier this week saying I wish I had some. But yeah. Oh, and do not do what I'm doing at home. Don't. Just don't. Because I am being a very silly person right now. Because yes, I am putting my finger on a capacitor that I'm soldering. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move some of this solder from one pad to the other. And there's that side. And I'm going to try my best to not put my finger on these things. Put just a skosh more solder on my iron. All right, so that's the first one done. And I'm going to show you under the microscope what I actually did here. We'll see if I made too big of a mess. Probably. But actually, it doesn't look too bad. Looks fairly secure on there, too. So, all right. Let's go over here to the microscope. And then bring this over here like so. And then, yeah. See, now you can see it. And you actually see that it's got secure on both sides. It's not straight. It's not straight, and it's not going to be perfect. And guess what? It doesn't have to be. As long as it works. Which, you know, we still have, what is this over here? C18 to deal with. All right. I had to stretch my leg out a little bit there. I've been having some knee problems. Yay, getting old. All right. So, that's one cap down. Let's keep going. And again, I'll probably work on these two next. Do this one. So let's go ahead. Actually, we'll knock out all. Tell you what, let's knock out all the big ones first. Because C18 is going to be that one that's going to be a pain. But we'll get it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing over here like I did with the other one. Oops. You guys can't see what I'm doing. Here we go. I'll do the same thing over here just like I did with the other one. And this one's going to be a little tricky because it's right there at that SCSI connector. Put a little bit of flux paste down, and notice the positive side's over here. So that's where I'm going to put the striped side. All right, and then let's get a little bit of okay. I'm going to use this other soldering tip here to hold it down. All right. That one actually, that one turned out a little bit better. So Of course, now I want to take a look at it. You can tell it's got good connection on that one side there. Oh yeah, it looks like it got good connection on both sides. So let's pull back up the microscope here. Oh man, I thought I had turned that off. You guys missed it. Dang. All right, but there she is. And you can actually see here, let me use my dry brush. I do have two toothbrushes over here that I use for this. So yeah, you can see I got good solder connection on that side. I got good solder connection on this side. All right. Actually, since that one's by itself, I'm going to use the IPA brush. Let's go ahead and clean all that flux off. Let's clean the flux off. And it says no clean flux, but I always clean it. I want to make sure that everything is nice and clean. There we go. Yeah, I'm actually really proud of that. I just hate that I left the microscope on. You guys didn't get to see it. So let me turn it off now. Let's see if I can duplicate that. All right. Here, we'll come up here to C8. And here we go. Let's go ahead and just kind of ripping this whole package open. They all got to come out. All right. Okay, put a little bit of flux on the pads. See the positive sides over here. So I'll drop the cap in. There we go. And what I was doing earlier, that I thought you guys were watching, was I basically was using this soldering tip right here just to hold the capacitor down. I got a little bit of solder on my iron. I'll come over here. There we go. Got it on that side. I'll move it just a skosh just so that I get a little bit better visibility. There we go. And, yep. That one looks pretty good. I'm going to show you guys on the microscope. There we go. So see there? I'm getting the hang of it, sort of. Now if I could just get my, there we go. I can get my stream set up, container, you know, get used to that. So I only have 3 more of these large capacitors. And they're down here. So, tell you what, do want to just clean up this area one more time. And I'm just doing this because I see just a little bit of dullness under here, and I certainly don't want to trap any more of that junk under the new capacitor. Oh, and you notice I didn't clean that one right there or the first one because I'm going to go back over all that area. I did clean this one, or you know, the one that I thought I showed you, but ultimately didn't. Just because I know me, and I will probably forget to clean that area. So, all right. This actually feels really, really good, kind of giving this machine a new lease on life. And yes, I even say that, having, you know, damaged it. We'll go ahead and put the flux on all of them. And here we go. But I'm only going to do them one at a time. Now, I don't put flux on the capacitors because I put the flux on the pads, and I kind of make it thick enough so that it will go onto the cap as well. There we go. All right, so there's that one. Now we'll have us a power supply and everything. We can test it after I finish with that one. Ooh, that is way too much solder. I'd much rather throw it away than have a big old blob I got to clean off. Alrighty, so there's that. And then here we go. There we go. I'm just redoing that just a little bit. All right. So there we go. So that is 3 more down. Cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean that area off. Perfect. Now I'll take it and just kind of blot it. Actually, I'll use one of my little cotton swabs here. And sometimes we'll use a clean cotton swab to kind of do a little fine detail work, especially when I'm trying to clean. There we go. And that, ew. There we go. Excellent. Cool. All right. So now most of the easy ones are done. Now let's do all the hard ones. Aren't you supposed to do all the hard stuff first? Yeah, I probably should start working on that C18 capacitor. Just readjust myself and grab something to drink. And no, I am going a little off-brand here. This is not caffeine. So not even caffeinated. Just realized my camera was in my face. And yeah, you might notice I look a little different than I did in most of my videos. The beard is a lot shorter, the belly's gotten a little bigger, and the hair is longer. That's all right. I actually started growing my hair out because, well, my wife liked it. When we were on lockdown and everything, you couldn't really get any haircuts or anything like that, so decided that I stood it as long as I could, and then I got my hair cut, and it was one of those things that she kind of told me that she really, was kind of digging it long, and I'm like, okay, fine. If you like it that way, I can deal with it because I've had my hair long before. So typically I, you know, keep it cut short, but mostly because it was just because it was inexpensive to deal with when it was short. So, but hey, she likes it. I kind of like it now. I even put my earring back in. It didn't gauge my ear back out though. I kind of drew a line there somewhere. Because, yeah, when I was a teenager, I was one of those guys. Had my earlobe stretched a little bit and was too fat to wear cool jeans, so I tried to do what I could with what I had. But somehow I kind of made it work. I mean, it's not like I was really all that popular. I wasn't. That's one reason I was suicidal when I was a teenager. That's actually one reason why I've always been more attached to computers than anything. Uh-oh, uh-oh, this one got away from me. This one got away from me. Yeah. Let's just pull that one back here. Yeah, computers didn't judge me. I gave them a command, or if I told them, you know, I could communicate with them and they would understand me. Not really that way with people. All right. There we go. I think that's one reason why I really do like giving new life to these old machines, especially ones like this. Because, like I said, you know, this computer I've got no attachment to personally, but I do love these LC3s and LC2s. The sound that these made, that woo sound, that was something that I wanted. And when I got my LC2 and it made the ding sound, it was one of those things. I eventually got used to it to the point that, you know, that became the thing that, you know, I would look forward to. When I would hear that, then I knew that, you know, my day was going to get a lot better. Because I was at home. I was working on my machine. Because at school, all they had were, you know, Performas and the LC3s in the old computer lab. I need to put a little bit more on that one side there. There we go. Get back in there. Alrighty. Just realized you guys are not seeing what I'm doing. Alright, so I got these two in. I have those two to go. And aside from a little C18 up there, that's going to probably be the hardest one of the night. We're just about done here. A bunch of those that know me know that I am up way past my bedtime right now. But that's all right. All right. So I'm going to take and give a little bit of solder on my iron. And this one is going to be a little trickier. Let's see if I can get this moved around here. Not only where you guys can see, but where I can see as well. So that's fine if you can see. But if I can't see, then we got a problem down here. There we go. Probably should have done that other one first, but oh well. It is what it is. And like I said, these are not 100% straight. Not going to be perfect. But you know, especially whenever I'm rebuilding a computer, I don't really go for perfection. Mostly because, I mean, you know, I kind of take it from my point of view. I'm definitely not perfect in any way, shape, nor form. And in fact, for the longest time, I considered myself defective. So, I guess you could call this solder therapy. Yeah, that's what I'll start calling these streams. Solder therapy. All right. Okay, so I'm going to flip over to the microscope, mostly because I want to see it. I hope you do too. All right. So, yeah. They're on there the right way. Looks like they've got probably too much solder on them, but I want to make sure that they're in there securely. So, yeah. Cool. And I literally just got this thing today, so I haven't really had a lot of time to play with it. In fact, I've got to rebuild the mount for it already. I modify everything. People used to get so aggravated with me. I'd buy a car. First thing I did was modify it. I'd buy a computer. The first thing I did was tear it apart, rebuild it. All right, so let's get this and see. I need to make sure I got this capacitor up here. And normally, I'm taking run some distilled water over all of this just to kind of flush everything off. I know some people would put them, well, I mean, I can't say some people will put them in the dishwasher, but I won't because I did do that with the LC2 motherboard. That was mostly an experiment. And, yeah, like I said, I thought that was what did that thing in. Ultimately, what I wound up doing, because that thing had a lot more corrosive damage on it, and it's funny because I think it was about that time when David Murray, the 8-bit guy, who was kind of one of the inspirations for me to start this channel. Between that and the guy that does, what is that channel called? This Does Not Compute. That dude literally pissed me off in a video to the point that I decided that, you know what, I did need to make my own. And one day I'll share that story with you. But anyway. Okay. I'm just going back over, double checking my work to make sure that I've got all of these pointing the correct direction. All right. Again, they're not perfect, but they don't need to be. As long as they are electrically sound. Which, speaking of electrically sound, we've got C18, and that's all that's left. I have decided to put myself in that kind of a position right now. So we've got what I'm probably going to do with that. I've been sitting here thinking about it the whole time. There might just be enough on the end of that that I might be able to stretch that over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over here to the microscope. And then this is how we're going to look at this. Okay. Okay, so you can see here that this pad connects up right here and goes on in there. and that this pad did connect up right here and go here. This you know what? This is not going to be as hard as I'm thinking about. I think I'm just psyching myself out. I think the biggest issue is going to be trying to get this. It would help if I was sitting there looking at what I was doing. All right, I'm going to try to scrape with this little pick set here. What I'm doing is trying to get just a little of that solder mask off of there, or the trace. Yeah, but I'm trying not to hit that via, or if I do, I need to make sure that I... Okay, so yeah, she's starting to get a little shiny there. So I think I might have something that I can solder to there. I might take and pull that little back just a little bit further. Or, I mean, I could feasibly bridge those two there, that via. That's the one thing I'm worried about, is that via. And then go back down a little ways and try to get into it there. Especially since it's weird because it kind of comes down here and loops right there. See, that's that trace. And that's the trace I'm trying to avoid hitting, which is that middle one there. So I don't know. I might do then. And I don't have enamel wire. That's the first thing that I would have thought of using with something this delicate. Because this is like tiny, tiny, tiny. You see how big my pick is? This is a dental pick. Here, look at the webcam. That's that pick, you know. This is tiny, tiny, tiny. So... I don't know. I've got just a little bit there I can get onto. I have done more with less. Let's readjust that. Okay. I actually look like I've got a pretty good amount there. Because I don't really have to, I mean, I've got to bridge it over to here. So let's, just for experimental sake, oops. Put a little flux on it. If you like it, then you put a little flux on it. Oh, I thought I had some solder on my iron. Yeah, I might not have enough of that coating pulled off of it because it doesn't appear to be sticking. I did have some solder on it that time. Let's clean my soldering tip right quick. Well, at least it does look like it's bridged there into that via, so it does look like that part of the connection is definitely there. almost, if I could take and just get the... Bear with me just a moment. All right. Apologize for that. It's funny, I'm on the live stream. Hey, let's ask you 100,000 questions. Uh-oh. All right, I think my auto off just went on my microscope. Let's see if it refreshes. Come on, you're going to recover. You're going to recover. Yep. No, because it's still got my thing there. Here, let's see if I can turn it off, turn it back on. Nope. Let's deactivate it and reactivate it and see if that helps. There we go. Yeah. All right. So I'm really nervous about soldering right there. Not so much about right there, though. Right here. Let me see if I can keep from peeling into that one. Oh, this is going to turn into a bridgy mess. Did my microscope just give up on me again? Yeah, I think it did. Power cycle it right fast. That's what happened earlier. It just turned itself off. There we go. There we go. All right. I'm afraid I'm making a bigger mess up here. So yeah, this is going to be fun. That's what happens sometimes. Sorry for my giant fingernail in the way. If I could just get a nice little strip of that pulled off. Could try a blade. Don't really like using a blade, but I don't have much of a choice. I'm sitting here like, oh, how do I get the best view of this? Oh, let me try this left-handed. I'm right-handed, folks. I might try this the blade down here because I feel like I've got a little more margin of error down here. Okay. take and just kind of wipe this off. Okay. So now I'm going to put a little bit more flux on it. You know what? That looks like it's starting to take some solder. I'll put enough on there. Hey, hey, hey. That is an extraordinarily good sign. And I so did not mean to sound like Fat Albert there. Look at there. All right. I think we're back in business, folks. Still need to do a little bit of a bodge wire, though. All righty. So that is going to be... So I'll need to put that right there. And I've got this wire here that I could use. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, now, working with components this small, trying to figure out the best way to put this on. So, all right. And I do apologize if I'm grossing you out with my big finger in the way. I do have a pair of tweezers. I don't like using them. So you see, I could put it right here. One thing I was thinking about was maybe just like backing it off right here. Try to solder it right directly to that little blob that I just made in that via. The other idea that I have is just to put it right here and then try to run the bodge wire over. And that's probably what I'm going to wind up doing. Mm-hmm. So if I take, I'm going to put this little wire right here. Let me straighten this out. So basically right there. Sorry, I'm trying to make this as absolutely straight as I can. Okay. So I'll come in here just like this. Okay, it does not look pretty, but I believe it is going to be functional. All right, see, it's in there. So at this point, yeah, I don't want to try to risk cutting it, so I'm just going to oh, come on. What do I got here? Titanium wire. Yeah, I might just leave that for right now. Sorry, folks, again. I am used to doing this by myself. And Oh, come on. There it goes. All right. So you can kind of see that I've got here. Having to reach under that lens is a little bit of a hindrance there. So now we should be able to see it much better. Oops, way too low. There we go. All right, so I got a little bodge wire right there. All right. So now I'm going to try to put this capacitor on. We shall see. Okay, so as you can see, it is so not sitting level because it is sitting on top of that bodge wire. And if I'm using a term incorrectly, I'm sure somebody will let me know. Okay. So now, let's go ahead and use this tip. Again, this, oops, got it at the edge of that. All right. I've got that side done. Moment of truth, folks. Will he do it? Will it work? Will he drop his soldering tip? And it is now. Oh no, there it is. Oh wait. All right, here. Clean my soldering tip one more time. Got to psyching myself out on this one. All right. I'm gonna turn the board around a little bit here so I can get a little better view on it. Mostly so I can just sit here and hold it. All right. Oh, did I just lose it? I think I did. Yep, I did. Okay, so I've got it clamped. I don't want to clamp it too far under that capacitor. I've got it clamped now so it won't move. Folks, I think I might have it. All right. That's exactly what I didn't want to do, but it actually did show that I do have that wire soldered to the bottom of the capacitor. That was why I did not want to clip that. And I do not have any solder mask to put over this. So let's see if I can get it back on there. Okay. I'm just going to clip it up top there at a safe distance. And folks, I believe I was able to get that fixed. And what I'm going to do now is just kind of bend it over out of the way. So now, yeah, Now I don't have any risk of touching that other via. So what I want to do now is clean this up. This is the last area to clean up. Yeah, this was the ugliest one of them all, but, you know, I also had the most to clean up on this one because, you know, again, it pad lifted and all that jazz. And, you know, I would absolutely love it if we could reverse engineer these boards so that we could create new boards and salvage the chips and everything on them. It's kind of like they do with the Amigas. But I know, being an Apple fanboy for as long as I have been, I know for a fact that Apple would absolutely raise Cain over that. But looky there. Cool. All right. So now I'm going to do something. I got a new toy, another new toy. I bought a new multimeter that's got really, really sharp needle ends on it. And now I'm going to do a continuity test. And yes. Okay. So, as I know in other videos, you've seen my other little multimeter. One day I'll tell you the story of how that thing came around. Okay, so you can hear it. Yep. All right. So, I want to come in here. Come on. Oh, microscope, don't do this on me. I really got half a mind to turn this thing off, and yeah, you know what, I'm going to unplug it. There we go. See, now I can see it and you can't. So, well, okay, maybe I can't because it just turned itself off. All right. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to turn that back off. So now you guys should be able to see what I can see here. And, all right. There's what I'm looking for. I'm trying to touch that trace. Ha ha! Folks, we got continuity. Ha ha! Oh, that feels good. Now, at some point, I will come back in here and clean all this up, put a little bit of solder mask on it. I could put Kapton tape on it, but honestly, it's such a small area that I just wouldn't even bother with it, honestly. Cool. Cool. Another one down. This is awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go back over and let's see. Oh, what the heck. I brought you along with me so far with this thing. Let's see if I can get it working again. And I'm going to be... Let's see. Let's go back in here. Turn it off. Turn it back on. Ooh, yep, there we go. We're live again. We are live. And I just lost my mouse. There we go. Yeah, folks, I promise if I start doing these more often, I'll be a little bit more organized with some of this stuff. So, but let's go over here. We're going to check our work. So, we've got this one, which looks good on both sides. We've got this one, which looks good on both sides. We got this one, which looks good on both sides. All right. Let's go check out my bodge job here, which has way too much solder on it, but I don't care. And that looks good. And let's go back over onto here. That one looks good. Now let's flip the board around and start looking at the ones on the back here. So there we go. I mean, they're not straight. They're not going to be perfect. Nothing's perfect, folks. There's those. Where's this one? All right. And oops, rolled right past it. There we go. All right, folks. Now I got to figure out how the heck I'm going to show you that I'm going to test this thing. I would love to be able to pipe video in on my streaming station here, but unfortunately that is not feasible right this moment. And I've tried. Let's see. You know what? I'm just nervous about that one. And of course my net shut off again. Oh well. We'll figure it out. I'm sure there's just a setting I need to go in there and fix. Again, I just got that thing today, so I haven't even really had a chance to play with it. But, you know, I do want to make sure that I'm not touching that one lead. So I'm going to get my multimeter back out. Some of this stuff I am a little paranoid about. Because when I first started doing board level repairs on computers, I couldn't tell you how many of those things I blew up. And the sad part is how valuable some of those things would be today. Jeez. Those 486 Packard Bells? Insane. I'd love to get another 486 unit, but there's just no way I can afford it right now. Okay, perfect. That satisfied my curiosity there. All right. Now, the cool part is, this is what I have cooked up for you guys to show you that this thing is working. So, the Macintosh LCIII, being based off the LC platform, shares a lot in common with the LCII, which I am very, very familiar. So, give me just one moment. All right, this is my LC2 case. This is the same one. Oops. This is the same one that I did the video on earlier. And I was doing my retro computing memories. Now, the thing is, with the LC3 board and an LC2, you actually have to take the fan out. So just taking this off to the side there, I really need to clean it. I really haven't done anything to this unit. So we're going to pop this board in here. There we go. There we go. Let's put the fan in. And if we hear the chime that I'm hoping we hear, then we'll be all set and ready to go. Now, I will put a new battery in here eventually. I do have the top part of it. Don't know what I did with it off the top of my head, though. Because I actually had it when I started doing this project tonight. So, okay, so I got that and that and that in, and yeah, okay, it's keyed. I'm like, I know this power supply goes in here. They're interchangeable. There we go. All right. Now, this did have the expanded video memory in it. Now, this is the configuration I bought it in. And because I knew I was going to be working on this thing, I went ahead and picked up a new 32 megabyte SIM, which this will max this unit out at the Memory Masters. That's who I bought it from on eBay. So I'm not quite sure if they're just trying to rebrand and make their own brand or what, but there it is. I'm not going to put that in yet because I want to hear this thing boot up all the way first. That way I know that everything is good with it. And I guess in the spirit of my very first video, here, I'm going to turn my soldering iron off because I'm definitely done with it for the night. In the spirit of my first video, let's do a smoke test. You ready, folks? Show of hands. Who thinks it's going to blow up? Yeah. Maybe. Maybe not. Ha ha! Let's see if we get the sad chimes. Let's also watch the SCSI to SD there, see if it boots up. I'll throw a monitor on it here in just a moment. Ooh, it looks like she's booting. Come on. You thought I blew it up. Okay, so I thought I blew it up too. That's okay. Oh, this is awesome. Now, I've got this SCSI to SD in here. This is probably going to be the only one that I use, simply because I really like the way the blue SCSI is set up, and the cost difference is just phenomenal, especially since I can build the blue SCSI myself, and I've already ordered a bunch of PCBs from PCBWay. Sorry, Perifractic. But anyway, no, I did order a bunch of them from PCBWay, even though they did, recommend JL PCB, just because, Anyway, so this has got system 7, is it 7? No, it's 753. That's what it has on it right now. So it should be able to boot up just fine. So the best test of this, let's turn it off. Now, most likely, when I turn it back on, it may not chime, because sometimes with the LC series, if it doesn't have a battery in it, or if the battery's bad, then it just kind of freaks out. It does all kinds of weirdness. So it might not chime. Ah, there she goes. We got that good chime. Ta! I loved these things so much when I was in middle school. I always wanted one, and I got my LC2, but I still loved it. Now, the cool things, there's a few differences here. Actually, hang on a second. Here's the LC2 motherboard. I'll go over a few differences here. And again, I'm just geeking out right now. So this is the LC2 board that I rebuilt, and this is the motherboard that I'm probably the most familiar with out of any of them. Now, what you'll notice here is I did reflow the solder over on this side, and that might have been the difference between this board working and not working. So that very well could be. There's still looks like a little bit of corrosion I missed cleaning up right there, so I'll get that later. But anyway, as you can see, they're very similar, except this gap right here on the LC2 is bigger, and that's actually how you can accommodate slipping this out without putting the fan on. This is a completely toolless design. I love these things. Now, one of the cool parts about this is this has got the 16 megahertz 68030. Does not have the ability to have a floating point processor on it. So you can't put an FPU on it. This also takes 30-pin SIMs rather than the 72-pin SIMs. So those are some of the big differences between the two. I think the bus speed on this is just on the LC2 is just a touch slower than on the LC3, but yeah. And again, this is it. And I'm going to be releasing a video from when I first rebuilt this board, so it's something I guess you can stay tuned and find out later on. So now I'm sitting here thinking, how in the blazes am I going to get this on a monitor so that you guys can see it? Can you tell I didn't think this far ahead? Well, no, okay. In all fairness, I had a perfect idea, and if I can remember what I did with the stuff, what I was planning on doing, and it decided it wanted to crap out on me at the last minute when I was basically doing what I call my rehearsal or my setup. Was I have a unit that will convert HDMI or VGA into HDMI, and it doesn't do an awesome job with the Mac going through a monitor adapter, but it did a passable job, and I was like, well, okay, it's still connected to the monitor adapter, which is kind of buried over here. All right, so that's this little bugger right here. So this was my original idea. I'm going to turn this off before I really drop something in there and ruin all my nice work, especially on C18 capacitor. But anyway, so I was going to use this. And by the way, if you're doing anything with vintage Macs and VGA monitors, I cannot recommend the Enhance brand Mac monitor adapter. I can't recommend this any higher. When I got my LC2, all I had was a VGA monitor. I didn't have a Mac monitor. So for the longest time, I had an LC2, and I didn't even have a way to plug it in. I tried probably 4 other units before I eventually bought one of these, and this was the easiest to set up and the most reliable. I had one that was so funny that when I plugged it into my monitor, the monitor was fine, and then it would just start rolling. The vertical hold would just keep spinning, and you'd have to reach back behind there and then readjust it. And all you have to do is just tweak it just a little bit, and then it would settle down, and it would just keep going again. And it was a nightmare. This right here, and I'll be honest with you, if you want to go find them on eBay, you're going to have to beat me to them because I buy every one I find. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just I want to make sure that I've got these. This is one of about 3 that I have. Because eventually I'm planning on doing more installs of stuff. And honestly, I like the VGA monitors, the selection better. So, all right. So this right here is the 32 megabyte. I have to remember it's megabyte, not gigabyte right now. This is the 32 megabyte SIM that I bought. Am I putting it in the wrong way? I think I am. No. That looks like the keyway. Oh, tell me they didn't send me the wrong thing, did they? It has been a while since I've left memory in and out of an LC2 or LC3 board. LC2 was a little bit easier, had a little bit more room. Yeah. You know what? I'd blast it. That's the RAM. I'm sitting here thinking this is the video memory the whole time. Oh, see? This is a 72-pin SIM over here, isn't it? Hey, looky there. Yeah. What can I say? I'm tired, and it's been a long time since I've messed with one of these. Okay, so this over here is the video RAM expansion. I'll get one of those eventually for it. But now I'm curious to see. I could run the chips on this to see exactly how much RAM this thing has in it. But of course, the cool thing is, again, you can leave it all out, and she boots right up. And that's one of the things that I loved about it. The onboard memory like that. Now, that's something I hate about newer computers, such as my Mac Mini M1 and my my MacBook Pro M1. You know, I can't upgrade the RAM in those. Of course, it's all soldered into the CPU now. But, oh well, it is what it is. That's progress, I suppose. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see if I can just kind of feng shui my desk a little bit so that I can put a monitor up here And here, check out my new little LED sign that I had made. Even though, like I said, even though I've not been active on here, I still have never at any point given up on making content. Okay, so I'm securing in the VGA adapter now, and I'm going to turn around the unit and kind of set it up the way I did for that YouTube shorts. Bear with me just one moment while I set all this up. And while I'm doing this, if you've gotten any value or entertainment out of this video, why don't you go ahead and subscribe, because I'm planning on doing live streams more and more. It's not always going to be old Macintoshes either. So I've got a lot of projects to do. And there we go. I'm trying not to snap that down all the way. It is the LC2 the LC2 bottom chassis with the LC3 lid. And even though I'm 90% sure that they are interchangeable, I don't want to take the chance. So, all right, let me move my camera for just a moment. All right, bear with me. All right, and it just occurred to me that I believe my keyboard and my mouse, the mouse is really all I need, is in a different room, so bear with me just a minute, and you might hear me fussing at my cat. We have two cats, and I left. One of them is wanting to be in here the entire time, and they are not very, they're not camera friendly. The other one just doesn't care, so bear with me a moment. Well, folks, I told you she'd do that. Oh, well, we're just about done anyway. Mostly just wanting to see how much RAM this thing has in it. All right, I am back. And we might have an appearance by the caffeinated cat named Puddin'. She's a handful, but we love her. And by the way, if anybody who has watched my videos, including my first one, that was not the cat that was meowing in that video. That was my other cat, named Leo. I don't mind giving out the names of my pets, because I do not use them for security purposes. All right. So, let's see. I'll try to see if I can get you guys the broadest angle that I can here. Oh, the happy Macintosh. Welcome to Macintosh. Oh, System 7.5. I love this was one of the first versions of Mac OS I was like really hardcore Mac geeking out about. Oh, it's 7.5. Okay. So about this Macintosh, and that is an 8 megabyte SIM in there. So that gives us a total of 12 megabytes of RAM. So yeah. But okay, this is awesome. And yeah, so I don't have any software on this thing. So we'll just shut it down. It is now safe to turn off your Macintosh. All right, so now what I'm going to do is, and I don't know why I brought this in here because I don't have the cable for it, but I even have the correct keyboard to go with it. So again, I don't know why I brought that in here. So now what I'm going to do is put in that 32 megabyte. Yeah, it's one of those nights. So now I'm going to put that 32 megabyte SIM in it, and then we're going to see if it reads it correctly. And if it does, then I've successfully completed my project for the evening. So, changing out memory literally single-handedly. I've got my other hand on the monitor. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell that I'm a computer geek, that I do crap like this in the middle of the night when I was a teenager. I used to sit and test components and stuff like that. All right. So let's go ahead and put the lid back on it. Just put it on loosely. And eventually I do want to do a full cleanup on this LC3, and I probably will do a video on that. Okay, so let's boot it back up. All right, let's make sure we don't get a sad Mac on here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we're going to get chimes? Oh, there we go. There we go. It was more RAM, so I did have to count it up first, so. And the speed of this SCSI to SD. Now that's one of the things when I get my blue SCSI kit. And again, I'm buying all the components myself. I'm not an authorized builder of the blue SCSI stuff, so I can't sell it. 36 megs of RAM. There we go. All right. So anyway, I'm going to do a test, and it's probably going to be with this system. It's probably going to be with the LC3 to see which one is faster, or if either one is faster than the other. You know, I can tell you for a fact that 7.5 on the LC2, I haven't played with it a little bit, has never been that fast. 7.5.5 has never been that fast on an LC2. So, and this being, you know, a little bit faster, I kind of can't wait. I'm probably going to stick with 7.1 or maybe 7.5.3 on this unit when I get its permanent hard drive in there. Because this SCSI to SD right now, I'm just using as a test drive just to test things out. So, all right, folks, that is going to be it for my live stream tonight. I want to thank everybody that showed up, showing their support. I really appreciate it. Again, feel free to, like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. I'm going to try to start doing live streams more often. I'm still going to do videos at some point, but live streams are just easier for me to do because I don't have a lot of time to devote to actually doing the video editing and everything like that. So that's one of the things that I'm going to try to start doing more often, just so I can get some content out there, and that way I can actually work through some of these projects, because a lot of these projects I've just kind of pushed off because, like, why bother? I bought it, or bought the computer, bought the components to do a project for YouTube, and if I'm not doing the project for YouTube, why bother doing it? So anyway, again, I appreciate everyone who showed up, show their support for me. And don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, do all that other happy stuff. You can always follow me. I am at DigitalManiac3K on Twitter. That's I think that's going to be a wrap for tonight, folks. So I will see everybody later. Have a great one.